Hey everybody, what's up? Welcome to Bold Voices. I'm Angela Bell Camino. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you wouldn't mind sharing the stream, we would super appreciate it. Subscriptions, likes, all that jazz. We love it. Happy 2026. If I haven't seen you in the new year already, I hope you had wonderful, beautiful holidays and that you're healthy and things are going well. What's up, Push Past Paralysis? And yeah, just like that, please interact with us in the chat. We love your comments. We love hearing your questions, your thoughts, your feedback on all of these sort of hot, trending topics, current events, all the things going on right now in the world and the country. So yeah, we want to hear from you. I will read the comments as much as possible and bring them up on the screen. So excited to have these incredible three guests on the panel with me here today. And excited to kick off the stream by talking about Adam Coleman's article, the latest article. We love to cover his articles. They're super interesting and informative, and the expertise is, top notch. So with me here today, I've got Adam Coleman, Hannah Griff, and Tiffany Savage. Love you three, and I'm so excited to have you here today. What's up, guys?
Hey.
Hey, thanks for having us.
Happy
New Year.
Yeah.
Happy New Year, y'all.
Happy New Year. I'm so excited to, kick off the new year with you three. I'm super excited to talk with Adam. Adam, I always love, we've been waiting a few weeks for this article.
Yeah, it kept getting pushed back, but it's all good.
It happens. But yeah, we're super excited to chat about it today. And most of your stuff is not my area of expertise, but I'm not, but we're happy to have you here to talk about it with your, tech background and significant interest in cars. So Adam's latest article in the New York Post is called Licensed to Ill. And it's about basically, another kind of headline is Chinese cars are cheap, but the real costs are too high. So concerning, all of the, valuable information that's packed into this article that everyone should read because, it's stuff that I don't know, I wasn't aware of. It's very eye-opening, very concerning. So I encourage everyone to read it. I'm going to pull it up, but I guess, Adam, why were you, to kick it off, compelled to write this article? I mean, it kind of no-brainer, but why should everyone read it? And what are your/our biggest concerns related to this?
What started it was he's like an electronics, sometimes he reviews cars and stuff like that. His name is Marquise Bromley, and he had a video that got a lot of traction. He has a lot of followers anyways, but it got a lot of traction. And then I saw, I'm not going to mention the person's name, but I saw someone who was on the right saying, yeah, we need to have more of these, because the guy's argument is that this is top quality, in his opinion. For the price point, it's probably $30,000 to $40,000 cheaper than what a car of its quality would cost from any other manufacturer. And that if it was in the United States, it would absolutely kill. So, everyone's saying, we need to have Chinese cars, we need cheaper options. And so my first response is like, you definitely do not want to have Chinese cars. And here are like the 10 reasons why.
Which is a lot of reasons.
A lot of reasons.
A lot of reasons.
But, well, actually, what was your second question? I'm sorry.
Well, kind of why should everyone read this, but also like the biggest concerns, which, there's at least 10, if not more. So, I guess any of the highlights of that, but we can get into individual ones too.
Why they should read it is because there are short-term and long-term ramifications um, that are hidden for many people because they don't realize. Because like America is a driving nation. Europe, not so much. People, especially around the cities, they take public transportation, right? But here, if the gas prices go up, it dramatically affects everything that we do. We drive a lot, so we are a car driving nation, and the price of cars is important. But whatever car option we have, a multitude of car options, American, Korean, Japanese, like we are going to buy one of these vehicles. And so if people are clamoring for a cheaper option, and then let's say it becomes political because Trump has raised the tariffs, so no Chinese cars are coming here because of that. Um, but if a Democrat wants to come in and just do the opposite of what Trump does, it could have serious ramifications on our sovereignty, um, on controlling, our ability to get around in case of conflict. Um, Actually, maybe I should kind of answer what are some of the dangers. So, for people who aren't familiar with cars, when you're driving your car, it's not like you drove your car, let's say in the 80s or maybe even in the 90s. Uh, like, yeah, even in the 90s. When you press your pedal on the gas, in the 90s, it basically connected to a line that would open your throttle body, right? And it would let air in. And then that's how you would ultimately create power so your car can move. You get off the gas, it closes, right? So it's a mechanical operation. Same thing with your brakes, next to your brake system, it's a mechanical operation. Now there is a computer that is in between. So your brake pedal and your accelerator pedal literally plugs in to a computer unit. And so what happens is if you press the gas, your car interprets how quickly it responds and how slowly it responds. So now most cars have like driving modes, an economy mode, a comfort mode. Like my car has sport and sport plus. And it's because the computer is adjusting all the inputs. So your pedal is just an input. So with that being said, if it's running through a computer, that means that the computer is the one that controls everything. Now, what if you give an adversarial nation access to your car's computer? And now every modern car has internet connection, right? You have cellular signal connecting, giving you traffic updates, but it's also pushing updates for your computer, just like your Windows computer, right? So from a technical standpoint, there is an access point into your computer, right? And every computer, I don't care what anybody says, every computer can be hacked, right? It's just a matter of how badly does someone want to get into it. But if a nation state wants to get into your computer, they can get into your computer, right? So it's a matter of effort, money, time, all these things. So if every computer can be hacked, including your car's computer, that is concerning. And it's always been concerning for me beyond China. When you can remote start. Well, it's taking that signal. You can do it from anywhere. Well, it's taking a signal from the internet and bringing it down to your car's computer and starting your car. Sounds nice and convenient, but what if that gets hacked? Right? So I'm always thinking from that aspect. Now you buy a Chinese car, they don't need to hack your computer. It's a Chinese car. Everything goes back to China, right? So of course, what's amazing? If you were ever to look up tech stuff and put in China, they have like bombshell. Apparently, there's a backdoor connection to China for these devices. Like, of course they do. Like that's what the Chinese government does. They have backdoors to everything that is electronic, drones and all types of stuff. There's backdoors. So you have the ability to get to the computer. So what is the computer capable of doing? If I was to have access to a car's computer from the computer, and I don't have to be at the computer, I could be somewhere else. I can literally do anything to that car, right? So that means that I can disable your brakes. I can raise your accelerator pedal to 100% and keep it there. I can turn up the temperature, or I can make changes to your electric car's battery, so where the heat keeps generating, and it causes a crazy fire, which car battery fires are wild, right? So, and I can lock your doors. So, you can do a lot with someone's computer if you're nefarious, and you have an adversarial nation that is nefarious. You can do these things. I mentioned in the article, there's a service for General Motors, the GM cars, called OnStar. And if your car gets stolen, you can call OnStar and they'll disable your car. Right?
Mhm.
It's a good service, but that just tells you how much control you can have from remote. Someone's just sitting at a computer and they're able to disable your car. They're able to track where your car is. Right? They're able to gather all types of information. So I just wanted to lay like the groundwork. Your car is a supercomputer on wheels, and it's gathering so much information. And there's already an information issue without China, right? There's already complaints as far as what are they doing with that information? Is it being sold, right? Just from the manufacturers we know of. But if you start entering the mix, an adversarial nation that potentially, likely, has control over that computer, and there's precedence for this, but they have control over that computer, we're going into a territory that is profoundly dangerous for any nation. America, the UK, Australia. It's profoundly dangerous for them to go down this direction, because if something jumps off, and if, let's say, 20 years from now, Chinese cars, Chinese buses, Chinese vehicles are ubiquitous in our infrastructure, that is incredibly dangerous for us, national security wise.
Yeah. Well, it's like we've talked a lot about AI recently, right? And like I've already been skeptical of like robot cars and like cars that drive themselves, and for a lot of these reasons. But then you add this whole other element, right? And like, yeah, like it sounds so simple, right? Like, oh, well, Chinese cars are cheaper. Like, oh, it's a no-brainer. But like you really drilled in so many points that are like that. Again, I encourage everyone to read the article, and I'll pull it up again so you can see. And it's also attached to Adam's posted on his X page. But yeah, it's like, yeah, right. Seems so simple. Like it's cheaper. Oh yeah, it runs, but like there's so many concerns. And Tiffany, I know you have a lot of notes and questions.
I do. There's so many different facets, right? So you look at it on a more grandiose scale. Data is arguably the most valuable resource of the 21st century. All right. So
Right.
whoever controls the data from vehicles, that means movement, habits, preferences, patterns, gains enormous leverage economically and politically. And autonomous cars, they're not just cars. I mean, just like what was just mentioned by Adam, they're rolling networks. But it also has to do, as far as America is concerned, with fair trade and reciprocity, right? So U.S. trade policy, if this were something we would even consider, we would have to ensure open markets, or only when reciprocity and legal protections exist within those vehicles from China. And if we were to relax those rules without those safeguards, it's, I mean, that's frightening, right? And then, China has always been one that wants to control. They want to control everything. So, I mean, look at TikTok. Okay. What did we learn from TikTok? That was a CCP spy machine. So who's to say that their cars wouldn't be the exact same? But there is a technology and competitive edge as well. So American automotive technology, especially when it comes to EVs, and autonomy, we got to stay ahead through robust investment and not underpriced competition, right? So this comes in. This has so many different spider webs that go down about this exact topic, but for supporting U.S. car makers ensures the country remains the leader in next generation of automotive tech. I only drive U.S. vehicles. Now, that being said, we also know that the government within the US isn't afraid to spy on our own. So I am well aware that, those capabilities are there, that it's not just with China. But I'd much rather my government have my information than an adversarial nation, like what Adam was saying. But it also has an economic risk to it and national strategic sovereignty. Okay. So buying American keep jobs, factories, and innovation at home, fueling economic strength and stability. Cheap imports can undermine US manufacturing, hollowing out communities dependent on auto jobs. So a lot of these industrial heavy metal communities, right? And weaken the industrial base. And dependence on foreign producers for major purchases that can shift leverage away from American policymakers. And of course, you have the national security risk, the foreign control data system and vehicle tech that could create unexpected vulnerabilities in connected cars. So when it comes to something like this, I'm so happy, Adam, that that you took this and that this article is gaining steam because it's not just about cars. Okay. And let's be honest. Okay. Timu versus American made, massive difference. All right. Yes, it's cheaper, but it's almost like fast fashion, right? Like it's not sustainable, right? It's just going to end up in the landfill. Well, the same with these cars. Yeah, they're cheaper to make. They're not going to last you, but I guarantee you the Chinese government will get exactly what they want out of you from it as an American.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I think that, just as we move forward in this sort of data-driven world that we've created and we've watched, evolve in front of us in our lifetimes, I I think it's going to be used by foreign governments and in, political plays a lot more. I took a cyber warfare and espionage class at Portland State as part of my government program, and it was like one of my favorite classes. But it kind of reminds me of that. Just there's constantly hackers in North Korea and China and Russia who are paid by the government to do anything they can to hack into American systems, our infrastructure, our energy, our government systems, our databases. We have constant assaults on those systems and programs from hackers overseas trying to get into it. And I feel like this is another avenue that, if Chinese cars became a huge thing over here and tons of people had them, like you said, Adam, it's like they just get a free pass to all of our data. And then who knows, they can control things from overseas. It's just, I think it leads down a really scary road. And reading your article, it was reminding me a lot of that cyber warfare class, because it happens all the time. It's happening constantly every single day, and we don't even realize it. It's, hidden from the public. But these types of things can make it, easier for adversaries to get in and get into our systems and get our data about our people.
Well, and Hannah, you make a really great point, and Adam, too, it's in your article as well. But if a foreign power controls massive vehicle data streams, they also control influence. I mean, look what happens when you're talking with your friends, your family, your kids, whatever, about something. Like, oh my gosh, have you seen insert whatever thing here? And then you get on social media and what ads do you see? Oh my gosh. So that would have a very similar impact. You're exactly right. And this also, I mean, this analytics that they would get, I mean, that could shape government policies, corporate marketing, and control social systems and incentives. I mean, this has a very, very large potential impact on the people of the United States and our sovereignty.
Yeah.
It also reminds me a bit of what we've talked about before, Angela, like with terms and conditions and things, and like just being, again, in the data-driven world, being careful about what you're signing up for and what kind of contracts you're agreeing to and what data you're giving them. Like, who knows, when you agree to buy this Chinese car, you might be signing your life over to them and you don't know it because it's buried in some terms and conditions. So all of those things can be scary when so much of our life is on the internet these days.
So I think it might be important for me to talk a little bit about the business of China, and especially when it revolves around cars. But
Yeah.
before I do that, what Hannah was saying as far as like the terms and conditions, like what might be in there for Chinese manufacturers. Here's the thing: when you become a massive power that everyone relies on, right? China could have a terms of service that looks clean, that looks like everybody else's terms of service. That part doesn't matter. See, what what matters is they don't care about these things actually, because they're just going to do what they're going to do. And because even if they get caught, they know no one's going to do anything about it,
No.
right? It's going to be some official inquiry. It's going to be, we're going to talk to them, right? Because everyone relies off of them for manufacturing. It would be different if North Korea was doing something like that, right? But it's a lot different because other countries, not just the United States, but a lot of countries around the world relies on China, right? So everyone turns a blind eye, but everyone at the same time knows that they steal intellectual property, yet they'll still send their companies abroad and have them build things out in China so they can steal more intellectual property. They know that they're doing corporate espionage. They, by the way, they have like how you go to like a regular government job in 9 to 5. They have a 9 to 5 hackers where all they do is hack American companies. That's it. I was watching this one program. And he's like literally like at 5 o'clock their time, all activity stops. Like it's a job.
Yep, they're on the
So
payroll.
they're on the payroll. The guy I was interviewing, he told me, I don't want to butcher this, but I think he was saying that there are more. And I'm not even gonna say it because I'm gonna butcher it. So
We want to know. We want to know.
it was something like there's
Butcher it.
more. there's more Chinese government employees who do some. Shit, I can't remember. I can't remember exactly how he put it. It had something to do with data, but it just talked about the scale of how important information is. They collect everything. And when I was asking him, why do they collect everything? And he's like, it's a communist thing. They collect it because maybe one day they'll need that information.
Yeah.
So it is not necessarily like, oh, we need it for this particular reason at this moment. It's always like in case in the future kind of thing.
You never know when it will come in handy.
You never
It's
know.
like 1984.
I mean, so as far as the business, so a lot of people, I've been paying attention to China for some time. So why does China have so many EV car manufacturers? And it's because unlike here, where every 4 years, we got to decide who's our president and we can be going in one direction and change another direction. They have one party rule, right? So they can set a 15-year, 20-year objective. They can say, here's our goal, and we're going to accomplish this. And they can stick to that, and they will. And they have done these things. One of their goals was EVs. They knew that EVs were the future, and they want to dominate the market. Actually, they wanted to dominate the automotive market, and they knew that EVs was the way for them to get into the automotive market to dominate it. So what they did was they basically put out, we want EVs. So they basically put out a wide notice. A whole bunch of Chinese entrepreneurs start up all these EV companies, right? There's like hundreds of EV companies that start up. Most of them are crap. Most of them die out in 6 months to a year. The guys get their money. The employees are left in the dust. Like it just becomes this free for all, this money grab, right? So like 90% of them fail. So what they're doing is setting up a structure where it's almost like survival of the fittest, right? So whoever lasts the longest and has the best quality is like the winner. And in the meantime, everyone else just takes a bunch of money. Everything kind of fails. So it's one big catastrophe. Now, when that guy Marquise is saying the car is actually good, and even the experts I was talking to, they're saying actually it's on par with Tesla. Like it's on par with all these mainstream brands. Like they're actually not that bad. And that's the reason. It's because they went through all these different failures to get to the point that they're at. Now, the reason I bring that up is because what's really important for people to understand, this isn't like Japan coming into the United States. This isn't like Korea coming into the United States. The motive is completely different for China versus any other manufacturer. We know that every car manufacturer that's here has one motive. It's a profit motive. That's it. They want to sell the most cars to make the most money. So which means they're all playing the same game. What's happening with China, and the reason they can sell cars of the same class for 20,000, 30,000 less is because they don't have a profit motive, because they're being subsidized by the government.
Mhm.
And so they're playing by completely different rules. So it's not necessarily like, you buy some cheap knickknack. It's cheap because they're using cheap, plastic or something like that. It's cheap because the government has heavily subsidized the Chinese automotive market. So we're not playing by the same rules whatsoever when it comes to Chinese products. So that is why they would absolutely destroy us if they were to enter our market, because we're following two different motives. And the Chinese government will keep subsidizing it because, and I kind of learned this from one of the experts I was talking to, Elaine, and she makes a lot of sense, and everything kind of clicked, not just with cars, but Chinese other things that they're very competitive with. The whole point is to dominate the market. The whole point is to not just compete, is to dominate. And the way for them to dominate is essentially to cheat, because they know that General Motors isn't subsidized by the US government, right? General Motors is a public company, trades on the stock market, has profit incentives, pays employees, right? They are of a capitalist structure. This is a communist structure that is heavily leaning its financial ability into this one market, and they know that we cannot compete because that's essentially cheating the game. And they do that with not just cars, but they do it in other markets. And the stupidity, and this is kind of like the capitalist stupidity, because every quarter we must increase profits, right? And then they always look at labor. How can we increase profits? Well, we got to change labor. So that is what led them to China years ago. And they were being short-sighted because the Chinese take their information. The Chinese take their technology. Like, and you name the auto manufacturer, they've taken their information at some point. And we know this because they've been prosecuted. Like, there have actually been like a Chinese employee of General Motors stole information, sent it over to the CCP, got caught, got prosecuted, and the US government served time, right? Story after story after story. Ford, Tesla, like you just go down the list. And if they're not stealing stuff in the US, they're stealing stuff because these auto manufacturers like Tesla are also doing stuff in China. If you do any sort of business in China, the CCP is connected to it.
Mhm.
And the last thing I'll say is, when it comes to, like, this isn't just speculation that China would take information from vehicles. It's because they're doing it in China now. And it's not just Chinese vehicles, it's every vehicle. So it's a Volkswagen, Tesla, a GM car, any car that operates in China. And these are laws within China. Any car manufacturer that operates in China must, in real time, send 61 points of information to Chinese monitors in real time. So every car is being monitored in China as it's being driven with 61 points of information. So, like, it is a real thing. They do want that information. They're currently doing it, and it's not just Chinese cars. And I'm sorry, but like, I keep going back to Tesla because Elon is always talking about information and we need to be careful. Well, guess what? Tesla complies. They want to be in the billion people market, so they comply with the rules and they give up their Chinese customer base, their information to comply with Chinese government. So, this is what happens when the capitalists are too short-sighted to realize that in the long term, they're going to get screwed if they keep going down this direction.
I couldn't agree more with that, Adam, actually, because the cheap cars should not come at the cost of surveillance vulnerabilities. And the only way that as Americans, right, that we can hit back against that is investing in American manufacturing, not undercutting American workers with imports that cost more than just dollars. And I think you make an excellent point, because, our nation as a whole, I swear we look at these and be like, oh, they're not doing that. They're doing that in everything. I mean, with our TVs, if you have a TV that is, manufactured in China, your phone, all of this, I mean, it sends data back all the time. And this is nothing new. I mean, it has happened, during that time of 4 years where we were all stuck in our homes. I mean, people were taking things back and forth, information. There were Chinese spies that were being arrested, right, on US soil, trying to bring in other things to completely cripple the United States. If it's not with a virus, if it's not with your computer, it's going to be with your cars. It's going to, any and everything. And I mean, I, it is far past time for the United States to really be that hard hitting leader. And absolutely, like, if this were to ever come up, oh my goodness gracious. Like, this is one of those times you need to fight back, because, in I would look at that as almost a declaration of war. I know that seems extreme, but you're spying on Americans on our soil, and that's just I really hope that your article and this topic alone really takes off, because, like I said earlier, it spiders into so many other things that this could affect.
Absolutely. So here's some good news. The good news is that right now, and I was having conversations with people who are in the know. Actually, coincidentally, when I was writing the article, they had just have a hearing on Capitol Hill involving one of the experts I was actually talking to. So when I talked to her, she's like, "Did you see my hearing?" I was like, "What hearing?" Like, I didn't know about it. Like, it literally just happened like a week or two prior. So there's bipartisan support. We do not want these vehicles here. And I believe in the article, I emphasized that it was also, surprisingly, the Biden administration, which was saying that there's a severe danger and we need to really look into even the possibility of this occurring with the United States regarding the surveillance. So as of right now, no one wants Chinese cars in here, Democrats or Republicans, and that's a good thing.
Mhm.
I am afraid of it being politicized at some point, because essentially everything gets politicized at some point. Especially if Trump makes this a talking point, then the opposition will just want to do the opposite of what he is doing. Right. So that's what I'm afraid of. Now, that's the good news. The good news is that no one wants Chinese cars here. The bad news is that Chinese cars don't have to actually come into the United States to affect the car market for American cars or any other car manufacturer. General Motors, Ford, every car maker makes cars internationally. So their corporate structure is an international corporate structure, which means they rely on money from every country that they bring cars into. If you mess up one or two markets or three markets that China is now allowed to import their vehicles into, then that can severely impact the amount of money that these automakers are able to make. And we all know what happens when their profits decrease significantly. They start making cuts, right? So then people start getting laid off, or they decide, you know what, we're going to ship this factory to Mexico because we need to save money because the Chinese are killing us in Brazil, right? So we need to do something. And so it will slowly start to morph into all these different industries. I'm sorry, all of these different manufacturers struggling including the American manufacturers. In the worst case scenario, it would be more mergers or alliances with China. And that's like the epitome of we've lost the game. When we start doing alliances, co-ownerships with Chinese manufacturers, because then it's over. It's absolutely over. So that's something to highlight. And by the way, in Mexico, you can buy Chinese cars, right? So it's just across the border. You can do that. And technically speaking, if you're a Mexican citizen, you can, and you're legal to come into the United States, you can drive your Chinese vehicle into the United States. So, it's not that far-fetched to have Chinese cars, even just crossing into our borders, even just temporarily.
Well, you packed so much important information into this article. Like you did, I just want to commend you on what a good job you did, because, like I said, this could seemingly be completely over my head and probably, but like you did it in such a, digestible way that really drilled the points home. And really, you did such a good job of packaging this information in a way that I think is clear to everyone who reads the article, no matter if they know about this stuff or tech so it was really, really well done in really presenting the concerns and what, people should be aware of and know about this issue. I think we covered like the main, like the scary stuff, bullet points that I have sort of like what people need to be concerned about. I'm glad you talked about the Chinese Communist Party trap of market domination by manipulation, because that was something I was going to ask you about, because so people could understand that piece of it. Metadata collection, was covered, particularly vehicle metadata that people might not think about. Computerized.
There's one more scary.
Yeah.
There's one more scary thing.
I was going to ask you if we missed any. So
yeah,
there's at least 10, at least.
There's at least 10. No, I think here's the scariest thing. The scariest thing would
be, my gosh, it was already so scary.
So I'll use the United Kingdom right now. The UK, and we all know like the red buses and stuff like that is iconic, right? So the UK is now using Chinese electric buses within its transportation system. They're now inquiring about, hey, is the Chinese government capable of getting into our buses' computers? And of course, the answer is yes, stupid. Right? But they're now starting to ask this question, even though there are buses in just about every major city within the UK. So
okay, see, that blows my mind, because how did that even that has to go through so many people. Like my job day to day, I work for a company. I review all contracts that company signs. Doesn't matter if it's for Adobe subscription or, a construction. I read everything. So I know what the business is getting into. How does the government get some sort of agreement in place where they're like, yes, we're going to bring in these buses? There's obviously lots of business deals that comes. How does that miss, like, oh, hey, maybe we should check if they're collecting our data? Like that would be in an agreement that I would read. Like that's just, I feel like it's so crazy. Maybe it's just my legal brain and the fact that I do this every day, but it's just so crazy to me that a country would enter a business relationship with another country and not be so clear on the terms and, all of the data protections and everything, data addendums that would come with that agreement. Like I read all those every single day. It's just, that's wild.
To answer your question, so the EU has a lot of privacy protections and things like that. So there's a lot of laws surrounding data information. Right. Sometimes you go to websites and it pops up, do you accept this, right? So a lot of that has to do with the European Union and data protection, and which is not necessarily a bad thing, right? There's a lot of consumer protections. The problem isn't the contracts or did the Chinese agree to this and that. Like I said, Chinese can agree to all this stuff, but they don't care.
That's true. I guess if they're signing a contract that says one thing, they're not they don't care
They're like,
about
no, we
adhering
can't
to that.
control that, you silly goose.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because what are you going to do? You just
Right.
bought a whole bunch of buses, and we're China, right? And you're dependent on us for a bunch of stuff. What are you going to do? Sanction us? You're not going to sanction us. Are you going to come out? How
Take
are
it to
you going to harm us?
arbitration.
You're going to take it to arbitration? We don't care.
Yeah.
You're going to fine us? Here's the money. Like China plays in the position where they'll do everything until they get caught, right? So
And then when they do, they're just going to tweak something a little bit and then just keep
Right.
on pushing forward.
But the weakness of the West is that they don't do anything about it.
Yeah.
The actual punishment would be, we're just not going to deal with you when it comes to maybe, all right, I'm not saying we just completely block ourselves off from China from anything. But what I'm saying is there are very key industries we should just not have any sort of association with, right? So if you want to have your t-shirts made in China, fine. But I don't know, we shouldn't have Boeing make planes in China because they're just going to make planes that look just like the Boeing plane and sell it in the same market and put you out of business. Like,
Mhm.
to me, that makes a whole lot of sense. And also, this isn't like I'm not the only person that knows that China's obsessed with data. Everyone knows, right? And government officials know. You know, the guys with the 3-letter agencies, they all know this stuff, including in the UK. They all know this stuff, but they're not the ones who are making the decisions. The politicians are making the decisions, right? And they're a bunch of fools. All they look at is the dollar amount. We can save more money by going with the Chinese bus versus going with the bus from Sweden, right? Or from wherever. So that's all they're looking at. So the two aren't actually talking to each other. And the West is so obsessed with the dollar amount, and they sacrifice everything else. It's actually going to cost us more in the long run by doing stuff like this. But the scary thing is, let's say Chinese buses, Chinese cars are ubiquitous throughout the West. And then one day China says, we're going to attack Taiwan. Now, the United States has been hemming and hawing about, we support Taiwan, but not been too hawkish about we support Taiwan, right? We've kind of walked that fine line. But one day, bombs start going over to Taiwan, and they start some sort of invasion. And then the United States says, you know what? We're sticking up for Taiwan. And then China says, okay, off your buses, off your cars.
Mhm.
Then what? A critical part of your infrastructure, that is how the American citizen will feel pain. That is how the UK citizens will feel pain. They just turned it off, and you have no access to it. In the same way, I think I put it, in the article, in the same way, one general manager for a basketball team said he supported the Hong Kong protesters, and they just turned off the NBA for China
Mhm.
until they said sorry. And they said sorry, and they fired the GM, and then China got what they wanted. So this
Well,
is
and this
type of
could
game.
go, Adam, into you could actually parlay this into the AI race too with China.
Yeah.
I mean, and I think Angela, is your show that I made this point. You know, you've got China, you have the US and Russia all in the AI race. Whoever gets it first gets to push the button and eliminate the other two. Well, guess what? The one that finishes second is in the same place as the one that finishes third. So, you know, that and it just they would have those same sort of, I mean, all they would have to do is, like you said, push a button and turn everything off, or whoops, all these cars from China, oh my gosh, they are blown up. They, like what you mentioned early, a battery fire, weird, you know, or they've lost control and they're careening off. You don't know. And it sounds so conspiratorial or something like out of a freaking, what do you call those? Tom Cruise movies where he's like hanging.
Mission Impossible.
Oh, Mission
Those-
Impossible, yeah.
I don't
I was gonna
watch
say a
them.
movie,
So
but yeah.
yeah, but I mean, it sounds very much like that, but the capabilities and the abilities are there to do it. So, I mean, it's frightening, just the thought.
And that's exactly what the UK government is now starting to say. They're using the words kill switch,
Yes.
right? That's what now they're worried about it, now that the buses are in circulation, but that's what they're worried about. it's a little bit too late. I mean, granted, they can stop buying Chinese buses if they're really that concerned about it. They probably won't, because the people who make the decisions are idiots. So, but this is the reality of things. There is a lot of power that can be had for any given vehicle from thousands of miles away, because everything is connected to the internet. Everything is hackable. And a matter of fact, it doesn't even need to be hacked if it's coming from the source that wants to turn it off. So that's,
It's like that
Yeah.
scene. I can't remember what movie it is, but it's some apocalypse movie that came out on Netflix, and it's like all of the Teslas are like driving
Right.
back to one spot, and they're all like crashing. And do you know what I'm
The
talking about?
last, what is it? The last
Yeah.
something.
What, I can't remember what the movie's called, but yes, that's
That
That
yeah,
was produced by the Obamas. Yeah.
that's what it reminded me of.
Lots of concerning, scary stuff there. I think you did sum up the article perfectly. And the fact that the ability to be controlled remotely, disabling features and functionalities, being connected to the internet constantly. And, Hannah also touched on the cyber warfare, espionage piece of it. All of that is terrifying. For anyone who is just joining, that was a little summary, but oh no, how do I get this back up? Oh, I'll put it here. This is Adam's article. It's on his X page, Substack as well. Guys, read it. But you did a lovely summary there too. So I think everyone did get the gist of it. Thank you so much for writing this, Adam, and for raising awareness.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's such clutch information. And I guess
feel like it's such an important issue too that people don't talk about, like,
and
especially the younger generation. I feel like they truly don't care about it. Like with the whole TikTok thing, there was a year ago when they were going to shut TikTok down, all these kids were downloading I think it's called Red Note. It's like the Chinese version of TikTok. And like they were just, downloading that and signing it up in anticipation for TikTok to go away. So it's kind of, I think it's important information to get out there because not a lot of people seem to know about it or care about it really. And it's like, it's such an important issue that more people do need to care. Like we need to be so aware of where our data is going and what we're signing up for. And I feel like especially the younger generation, when you can just download an app on your phone, it's almost like, well, what bad could, what bad is going to happen from downloading an app on my phone? But there's so much on the back end that we don't realize that we need to be aware of.
Absolutely. Yep. Well, thank you so much for that, Adam. I love it. I do want to cover some breaking news coming out of Minnesota, Minneapolis.
Should we have a breaking Chiron?
Yeah,
breaking
right. I knew
news.
that. So yeah, this is breaking today. Immigration officers opened fire on a 37-year-old woman who a federal spokesperson said was trying to kill the agents with a car. City officials disputed that account, describing the shooting as an overreaction. And here's what we know. This happened today. So a federal officer shot and killed a 37-year-old woman in Minneapolis during an immigration enforcement operation today as the Trump administration intensified a crackdown on illegal immigration. Details of this shooting remain unclear, with conflicting accounts from local and federal officials. Tricia McLaughlin, a Department of Homeland Security spokeswoman, said in a statement that an agent had opened fire after a woman weaponized her vehicle in an attempt to kill federal officers. Mayor Jacob Frey called her account bullshit in a news conference, describing the shooting instead as an agent recklessly using power that resulted in somebody dying, getting killed. So there's videos circulating. They're pretty graphic and disturbing. Obviously, it's terrible what happened. There's debates over whether this officer was in front of the car, to the side of the car. Was this warranted? Was this a misuse of power? I mean, so much going on in Minneapolis. How much do you think that this is there's already so much hate, right? Towards ICE. how much do we think that this is going to escalate everything that's going on there?
Oh,
I
I'm
mean, it's
sure.
definitely gonna. Sorry, go ahead, Adam.
Yeah, go ahead,
I
Adam.
was going to say it's definitely going to get worse. It's not going to get better. So let's say if it wasn't ICE, if this was a state trooper, right? I watch a lot of body cam footage, a lot of police chases and stuff like that. They'll shoot your ass.
Mhm.
And I've seen several videos. If you clip a cop with a car, it is a deadly weapon. They will shoot you and they will stop you. Because if you'll clip a cop right here and they don't shoot you and you clip another cop down the road or come back around and try to do it again, it's negligent on themselves for not protecting themselves. Or you hit somebody else innocently because you're driving recklessly and some kids trying to cross the street. So, they will shoot you because you have now turned your vehicle into a weapon. Which, by the way, she turned her vehicle into an obstruction to illegal enforcement, right? So you were literally getting in the way of federal officers. So these aren't guys who are walking around like cowboys, waving their guns around, and the gun just goes off. They're doing a job which is targeted. And the thing that really fucking bothers me about the whole thing about ICE coming from the left is that they presume, and I've heard regular people who just hate Trump, and they think that they're just the Gestapo who's just going around willy-nilly saying, I think brown people live here. Let's just go in and find out if they're legal or not. And let's arrest them and hold them. And then if they're not illegal, we'll let them go. That's not what they're doing. They know who the illegals are. They've always said it is targeted. We're at this address because that's where that guy is. And we know this because we've been surveilling, because he's had several court appearances and the judge denied him and he hasn't left. So we're making him leave. They're doing targeted enforcement. These are not the Gestapo, right? ISIS existed for a long time, but it's become weaponized at this point. So, and this, which by the way, for a lot of people who weren't familiar with leftists and what they were interested in and hated, they've always had ICE as a target for a long time. They were attacking ICE facilities years ago, right? But it's made it into the mainstream. And honestly, they used to be common sense Democrats have all folded and taken up the narrative because Trump, right? Whereas before they would never cover or not necessarily cover, they would never promote the attacking of an ICE facility out somewhere out near Portland. They would never do that, right? That was the crazies out in Portland doing that. But now they cover it as if they're trying to set people free who are being wrongly persecuted. Like, it's just absolute bullshit what's going on. And here we have some woman who's been indoctrinated to believe that she is trying to stop the Gestapo from going around and taking people who are wrongly from the country. And an ideology has set this woman up to be killed because she thought she can be a martyr for someone, to save someone out there, someone she does not even know. That is how foolish these people are. They're going on sacrificing their lives for someone they have no idea about. They don't know if this guy was a pedophile that was arrested and they need to deport his ass. They have no idea what this guy was about or woman who's about. No idea, but they know for certain that these people who have ice on their chests are bad people and they need to stand in front of them. So I'd never celebrate someone's death. Whether I agree with them or disagree with them, I think it is a shame that all of this has come to it. But we know that there are people who are agitating this stuff. We know people that are foot soldiers for an ideology, who are getting wrapped up, who don't know better, because they've become so indoctrinated by this bullshit that has been going around because Trump is their Hitler. And so this is what inevitably is going to happen.
And I just read a comment under, I think it's actually in the thread for this show, Angela, but it says, get out of the way and arrest her and throw the book at her, but shoot to kill. And I'm like, wait a minute. So you have ICE officials. One is coming from another direction, which I'm actually quite pissed at the Hodge twins for what they posted because I immediately DM'd them. I'm like, you need to look at this view, buddy, because you can't see the guy that she actually plowed over, right? But I mean, okay, that to me, that's just moving a goalpost further. All right, well, that's our fault. Sorry, let's move it. Let's not try to, you know, let's make excuses for this woman. Let's coddle her. Oh my God. No, fuck that. Sorry, Angela.
That's
But
okay.
I'm tired of people being empathetic or apologist to people that, just like Adam said, they're impeding on federal investigations. And she meant to gun it. She knew those police officers were there. As soon as that one ICE agent, approached her window. Okay. Now, what have we all learned? I know that if I ever get approached by a law enforcement officer in my car, it is in park, my hands literally go on the steering wheel because I respect their job and what they're doing. What does she do? Absolutely not. She freaking guns it with no care in the world about her situational awareness, her surroundings, and then ends up plowing over an ICE official. And then the other guy's arm is actually in there. Yes, I'm going to do the same because now you have, excuse me, I'm not sure. I don't know. I think he's fine. Did he die? I don't know if he died. Did he die? I don't know.
Either.
But I'm sorry if I'm in that line of work, you have just attacked my fellow man here who is helping me with this. No, you're done. You are now, that's attempted murder. And what am I going to do? Because you're behind the wheel of a dangerous object. Yeah, you're done here. And people that are apologizing or it makes me sick because they're not. Yeah, I don't even know how to explain. It makes me very sad, right? Because they, instead of supporting, law enforcement officers, they would rather support someone who has literally been taking money out of their pockets, right? Somebody who has been milking off our economy and our resources. But then you have legal immigrants come over, they get an $800 Social Security check and they've done it the right way. And yet these illegal asshats come over here for not asylum, okay, just because, and the government's giving them tens of thousands of dollars. Give me a break. Give me a break. I don't, this topic pisses me off so badly, especially when one of our, law enforcement officers who has selfishly decided to serve his country. And that's how he is treated, by being run over by an SUV. Get out of town.
Yeah, it's like, I think I said it last time on the stream with Jay, but these are criminals. These are people who are doing illegal things. The people that ICE, is deporting, they're not good people, yet people are coming to their defense as if they're like saints. And it's the anti-Trump rhetoric. It's the anti-police rhetoric that I feel like hasn't really died out since BLM and everything. And my dad was a police officer my whole life. He just retired a few years ago. Thank God. I sleep better at night knowing he's retired now. But I always think of it from my dad's situation. And, granted, I haven't watched the videos or anything, and I don't know exactly what went down in this situation, but I always think of my dad. And I think if there's a crazy person who's trying to run him over and kill him so he doesn't come home to his family, I would hope that he would unholster his weapon and do what he needed to do to protect himself and to protect other people. And are there bad cops out there who do bad shootings? Absolutely. But guess what? The majority of those guys just want to go home to their families at the end of the day, do their job and go home to their families. And if someone, a crazy person, is trying to prevent that from happening, you're goddamn right that they're gonna get shot. I'm sorry. If you're trying to
Mhm.
kill somebody, fuck around and find out. It's like, I feel like it's another version of that. It's like, are we really going to defend this person who, oh, they were just trying to stop ICE? ICE is doing their job. They're arresting criminals. Like, why are we defending this person? Like,
I think a lot of people too, they forget about the personal aspect of that officer. All right. And
mhm,
not a lot of people know this, but since the summer of love, first responders, law enforcement officer suicide because of the stress of their job has increased by 20%. All right.
mhm.
Like there is a human aspect that this Karen and her old Ford SUV completely disregards,
Yep.
right? And that just it makes me sick because these men and women that have voluntarily, decided that they are going to serve, whether it's their country or their community, this is how they get treated and the stress that they're under and the things that they have had to endure like the past 5 years, it is driving them to take their own lives. Like
Oh,
that's
yeah.
so incredibly sad to me. And you know, it's a wild sort of mind fuck, right? When people are viewing our law enforcement officials as animals instead of the ones that are here illegally and that are raping, murdering, stealing from the American people. But that's okay.
Yeah, it really speaks to the dangerous narrative, rhetoric, ideology, all of what you guys have said, and how extreme it is. And Hannah, what you said is something that I say a lot. Like, sure, there are ICE agents who do bad things, abuse power, just like police officers. But it drives me crazy that then people jump to this conclusion of they're all evil and demonize them and they're all bad and they hate minorities, and it's so extreme. That drives me crazy as well, because there's that human element. Like you said, I care about all people. I don't want anyone to die. I don't want anyone to but yeah, they are doing their job, and some are gonna, make mistakes or abuse power or, not be great people. But there are such great ones out there who are just trying to do their job. So it's
Right. But it just the
yeah.
justification that it's okay to take the life of a law enforcement officer when all they're trying to do is round up that person and send them back. We're not taking any lives here, people. But it's okay to justify the death of an American citizen, a law enforcement officer, when he is literally just doing his job and doing it by the letter of the law to send an illegal alien home. Make it make sense. It doesn't.
And also, the other thing is, everyone has the right to protest. That's fine.
Mhm.
But this person was not protesting, at least not at that moment. When you stand, because I saw the beginning of the video, especially when you have cars, the cops are trying to leave the scene, and you park your car diagonally across from them, blocking them from leaving.
Yeah.
You're now obstructing. You're not protesting. You're obstructing them, right? So you've left being a protester. So the cops didn't go around shooting protesters.
Mm-mm.
Someone injected themselves into a law enforcement operation. And anybody who does anything like that, you've overstepped your lines, which is why you need to get out, and we are going to punish you for overstepping your lines. You're obstructing at this point.
They
And
want to
then
be
when you fight
persecuted
against them-
like Iranians or something. Like, you want
Right.
to, it's crazy.
And also, and beyond ICE, when it comes to cops, I would encourage anyone, except Hannah. Hannah already knows. Her father's a cop, so she's probably heard everything. But watch police cam videos. Just watch police
Yeah.
interaction videos. I watch them almost every day. Just watch the shootouts. There's one called Police Activity, right? And they show a lot of the shootings. Just watch them, and you realize that they have this much time to react and make the right decision,
Mhm.
to figure out. Because there's sometimes I'm watching and the guy's like, he has a gun. I'm like, I didn't even see it. How is he able to tell there was a gun there? And man, he was right. There was one, but it's dark out. Everything's happening real fast. How was he able to see that? So there's a lot of split second reaction to.
And there's so much training they go to. Like they go through so much more training that it's like, oh, I wouldn't have shot that person, but it's like, this is what they do. They train for this all the time. Like my dad was constantly a training. He was a gun instructor. Like they operate almost like military guys. Like there's, even when my dad drives to this day, like he's scanning, he's like, we go into a restaurant, he's scanning everything. He doesn't sit with his back to the door. Like it's just these like innate things that he's been trained to do. And that's how they're able to like make these split second decisions. And I can guarantee you a person who's not had this training is going to fuck that up every single time.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. And I love, the people who have never been in that situation being like, well, I would have done this. And like, this is, like you have never been in that high stress, like situation. What is it
my
called?
least
Like
favorite
Sunday
thing is
quarterbacks at Sunday.
Monday morning
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
My least favorite thing is what would you do? Like my wife sometimes does it. What would you do if? I'm like, I don't know. Stop asking me that. Like it's my least favorite thing because I'm a human being. I'm emotional. Like I have no idea if in this situation, if some guy tried to mug me, what would you do? Well, I would hope that I would do these things, but I don't know. I don't know what I would do. Right? It's a lot easier to say what you would do, and you're not even part of it.
Right.
And that's what a lot of people do.
I think that's a direct effect of also social media, because as soon as these social media platforms came up, I mean, I've been guilty of it before. I'm like, oh, watch this, being that keyboard warrior, so to speak. Yeah. But I think that has given a lot of people way bigger balls than they have in real life, and if put in that situation in real life, I mean, they'd be little pussy bitches. Sorry, but it's true.
And I do think that there's a general ignorance when it comes to law enforcement.
Yes.
I was on a podcast once, and it was Black oriented, and the woman, she was fine, right? She was fine as a host, but she said, cops are trained to shoot to kill, and I said, no, they're not. I was like,
neutralize.
They're trained to shoot until the person who is armed is disabled, and then they treat them, and then they put bandages on them and do first aid. They're not trained to shoot to kill. Like, where do you get that from? And they get that from, I guess, movies, or just thinking that cops are cowboys who just go and shoot people and just walk away and just don't care. And that's why I say, watch police cam videos. I've seen cops chase a car, right? Pit him. The guy runs out. Guy pulls out a gun, shoots the guy, and then goes to try to resuscitate him. Tell me, if some guy broke into your house and had a gun and you shot him, would you start resuscitating him? No, you wouldn't. You'd be like, fucking fuck, shot that guy. He tried to steal my shit. That's what they're trained to do, and they feel bad if the guy dies because they all recognize that all of this is a shame. None of this should have happened. Like this is ridiculous. You shouldn't have gone in your car and ran away and pulled out a gun and done all this stuff. This is senseless because I didn't wake up today to take a life.
All right.
Because they understand the seriousness when it comes to taking a life. None of these guys are like, yeah, man, I shot him dead, and they high five each other. None of them do that. None of them.
Yeah,
Like,
my dad has had. And they have to go through therapy. They have to there's a, I don't know if it's by department or if it's just kind of a general thing, but there's a whole process you have to go to. You have to get mentally cleared. You have to, the whole investigation happens to make sure it's a good shooting. My dad said that, I remember a story he told me. One of his buddies got into a officer involved shooting on the job and ended up killing the guy. The guy was locked himself inside the house with his mom, I think, and she was like elderly, and he had a knife and was threatening to kill her and stuff. And so they were able to get a shot on him and they killed him. But my dad said that the lady, the mom or whatever, afterwards was like, why didn't you just shoot him in the leg? Like, why didn't you just shoot him in the arm? And they were like, ma'am, he had a knife to your throat. Like, we're not going to shoot him in the leg. First of all, someone moves their leg, you're going to miss a shot. You're shooting for the center
So,
mass,
center mass.
so you can
Yes.
take someone down. Like, and the mom is she's got a knife, you know, held to her throat by her crazy son, and she's mad at the cops for shooting him. It's like, that's not what else did you want him to let him cut your throat open? Like, what?
right.
It's just, it's another one of those
Yeah.
situations where she, you know, she's like, oh, well, I would have just shot him in the leg. It's like, okay, but
Then you
that's not
wouldn't
the
even miss.
reality. Yeah,
Right.
exactly. Then we might have shot you, or, you know, we missed and then he cuts your throat. It's like, they have this training for a reason. Like, trust them to be able to do their job.
Mhm.
Yeah, and to your point, Hannah, too, I have a friend who's a police officer as well, and he's also done a significant amount of therapy, like the things that he's seen, and so yeah, I mean, there's, you know, when you have that personal connection or experience, you know, like, it's important for people to realize, yeah,
It's a hard job. It's a hard job, and they get nothing but shit for it a lot of the time. I remember speaking at my dad's retirement kind of ceremony and just looking around, and like, I started crying. I was like, thank you guys all for, you know, this job that you do, because I know it's so hard, and being the family, you know, of a law enforcement officer, it's hard. The things that my dad has seen and the things that he's had to go through, like, he's told me little bits and pieces here, but the, you know, the one story that chokes him up all the time is when my brother was 3 years old, he had to go to a autopsy, because cops have to be there for autopsies. He had to go to an autopsy at the medical examiners of a 3-year-old boy who was like abused, and he said, like, he still cries about it to this day. Like, there's so much that police go through that they don't talk about, because it's just part of the job, and they have to, you know, deal with it and come home and shove it down. But seeing the effect of that, like, on my dad over the years, and just knowing what comes with the job, I appreciate it so much more. And, you know, I'm enough libertarian that I can see the anti-police, you know, arguments and stuff, and even buy into some of them. But coming from a law enforcement family, it's disheartening to see the hate that just gets so blindly thrown at our police and law enforcement officers.
yeah. Thank you for sharing that, Hannah. Sorry, Adam, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say thank you.
Yeah.
That's what I was gonna say. You know, cops see the underbelly of society. You get to go home, you get to be comfortable, and never see a dead body. Never get to see a child who's pummeled by their parents, or not fed. You know, even animals, coming across animals that are skeletons walking around. Like, they see the underbelly of society.
Doing
they have
death
to deal with it.
notifications. That was
Death
something my dad said, like, kids on
Yeah.
prom night having to go knock on their parents' door and say,
Oh.
I'm sorry, your kids died in a car accident. Those types of things. They don't talk about those things. Like, my dad, you know, every once in a while, here and there over my lifetime, he's told me a really horrific story of something he's dealt with. But I know that the stories he hasn't told are 100 times, you know, what he's actually told me. And yeah,
Yeah.
it's something to keep in mind, because I think that all of those men and women carry a lot heavier load than we realize.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, thanks, Hannah. I'm glad that you're able to sleep better at night now, not having to
Yeah.
worry about him as much. I can't imagine.
Yeah.
And Adam, I love what you said about, you know, watching, you know, the camera footage. I think in general, people need to inform themselves better and get more information. I feel like a lot of people are jumping to these conclusions, like my friends included. They'll watch a spin on a video or like a clip of it, and they won't have the whole story, and they're automatic like, see, here's another like ICE
Well, they can
agent.
go down to their local police department and you can do a ride along for free, and they will let you. And then that'll give you literally firsthand accounts of what they deal with on a certain shift. And I encourage you to go to a night shift, because I mean, but it's available, but people
Yeah.
don't want to do it, I think, because they kind of like that blissfully unaware smokescreen. But
Yeah.
I've
You
done
don't
it.
want to. I've done it too. My dad I had to wait till I was 16 and I was only able to do it once. And when I did it, he was on the gang enforcement team. So we were doing a lot of like just driving around and he was, you know, checking out the gangsters that he knew and stuff. And there was one guy who was particularly kind of a bad guy. And my dad saw him and ran into him and got out of the car to talk to him. And, you know, the guy started looking in the car and saying, "Oh, is that your daughter? I'm gonna find out where you live, Griff," and started like saying things about me and stuff. And so my dad was like, "Okay, we're done. No more ride-alongs." But you'll see that type of stuff happen. Like these are the scum of the earth that they deal with every day, and it's such a blind part of our community. Like when he was on gang team, I didn't realize that we had gangs like around where we lived. And then he was driving around and, oh yeah, this is this street gang and this is this street gang and these guys belong to that, and you can tell by their, jersey. And it's like, I don't even know that this exists around me. And then here my dad is going to work and dealing with these guys every single day. And they're threatening his family and, saying, "I'm going to find out where you live and I'm going to come kill your kids and your wife." And yeah, that's just day to day. That's just like another day on the job for them.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, I know we only have a couple minutes left here. Not to be confrontational, but I do love interacting with our audience. So I wanted to give everyone a chance if they want to say something real quick. Ian is not agreeing with a lot of, what's being said. Adam has no idea what he's talking about, which never is the case. That's never the case. Adam always knows a lot of what he's talking about, if not all of it. Non-lethal weapons must be used in situations like this where a protester—
That's not a protester, though.
It is a righteous cause because it's obvious to even modestly educated folks that DHS, ICE, WH would have operated in bad faith.
But that person in that vehicle, that is not a protest.
Are you gonna punch somebody who's holding a gun up at you? Like, no, you're gonna shoot them.
Yes. So no, that does not apply here, Ian.
Yeah. I don't. Maybe I'm being too gracious to Ian, but maybe Ian didn't see the entire video.
That's what it seems like to me.
Yeah.
The woman was in her car, so the officers were trying to leave the scene. One vehicle left. She got in front of the next vehicle. The guys were in their vehicle trying to leave. So they got out of their vehicle because she blocked their pathway. She like parallel parked in front of their car, right? She's obstructing their pathway while they're conducting work, right? So she's obstructing. So they got out of their vehicle. We're telling her, now that you're obstructing, get out of your vehicle. And one cop was standing towards the front of her vehicle. And then that's when she proceeded to leave.
Well, and also too, real quick, Adam, before you keep going, that also puts those ICE officials or officers in a very vulnerable position, because if their exit point, if she is obstructing it, well, then that is weakness for a federal officer.
And it could be a plan. She could have a whole team coming in to, surround them or something. Like they don't know. They have to act and neutralize the threat. Like they don't know if she's got 5 more cars coming behind her that's going to plow them over.
And these people that ICE are going after, they are not friendlies. Okay. So, I mean, they literally prey on these officers and their families and people within their community. So quit being an apologist, Ian. Get out of here. Sorry, go ahead, Adam.
I mean, it's not like there's a mob of people who keep encountering ICE wherever they go. I mean, let me ask you a question. If you're trying to go to your car to go to work and 10 people surround you, would you be not worried? Would you be a little bit concerned? Now imagine someone pulls up their car and blocks your pathway so you can't leave your driveway. Would you be not concerned?
My life would feel threatened. I would feel like my life was threatened. Yep.
Right. So yes, they're going to get out of their car with urgency and pull the person out of their car to make sure they're not a threat, while also looking around, because there are people who are standing nearby, some of them holding cameras, and some of them may be concealed. And it's not like, I don't know, someone has attempted to shoot ICE agents, like people try to shoot cops too. That's another thing. We pretend that people don't try to kill cops.
Right.
Yes, it happens all the time. Cops get killed all the time. They get shot. They get hit by vehicles. Stuff like that happens. I just saw a video where it was a police chase. They're surrounded by there's like 50 cops surrounding them. There's a cop in front of them. They still were trying to get away, and they ran over a cop. The cop can't work anymore. And they guess what they did though? They opened fire and killed both people who were in that car. Right? Once you hit a cop with a car, you turned it into a deadly weapon. And so they're going to treat you like you're holding a deadly weapon. So this isn't new. This isn't some made up thing. And sure, I'm not in law enforcement and I don't know anything about what I'm talking about other than someone who's an enthusiast who likes to learn things. And I've just seen way too many circumstances and listened to people in law enforcement talk about these things, which, by the way, every time I see these videos, it always clarifies these were justified shootings. Okay, so I don't know shit. But every time I see a state trooper get hit, a local police officer get hit by a car, they open fire. Every single time, those guys keep their job because it's justified shooting because it turned into a deadly weapon.
Yeah.
So,
and after, I feel like afterwards on those videos, every time they actually have to shoot somebody, every single time you can hear it in their voice that they're fucked up about it. Fuck, man, but like, I feel like I've seen so many videos like that where they're not shooting someone and going woohoo, like high-fiving their buddy. Like, it's serious. They're aware of how serious it is to take a life. It's not like they're just doing it willy-nilly because they have the power of the, badge on their side. It's a traumatizing experience to take someone's life. And I think that 99% of cops who have done so would agree with that.
If I could say there's one example I always think about. There's one particular man. He was a sovereign citizen, which was never going to go well. And he had a warrant out. And the warrant was for his legal name, but he's a sovereign citizen and he has some fictional name. And so he said, it's for this name. And he's like, that's not my name. So that's how it all started. And he's like, I know it's you because I have your picture in my system. It is you. That's not me. That's not my name. What name is on it? That's not me. Of course, he had a warrant for him. So the guy is resisting. He's a big guy, looks like a football player. They tried every non-lethal way. They tried 3 guys trying to just pin him down. The guy rolled out of it. They shot him with beanbag guns. The guy still wouldn't go down. Like, if you watch the video, like, what is this guy made out of? He just would not stop. They used the tasers on him, to shoot the tasers on him like 2 or 3 times. He still would not go down. And then he charged at the cop. Finally, they went lethal. The guy had to shoot him, and he went down. The guy ended up dying. But the guy who shot him was crying like a baby. Because he did not what they tried everything for like 10 minutes. They're trying to arrest the guy. They're pleading with him, just comply. So when people just say you wear this badge and you're this Billy Badass who just wants to take out people, maybe that guy exists. But the vast majority of people are just regular human beings who are pleading with you, man, just comply with me. I do not want to hurt you. I don't. They try everything possible to not use lethal because they're the ones who have to carry that scar too. And they don't want to take someone's life, even if you think he's a lowlife.
Whew. Yeah, guys, I appreciate you all so much. This, as per usual, has been an incredible conversation, and I'm so glad the 3 of you were here to have it with me. Such super informative, great perspectives, like all of it. I'm so thankful for you guys being here and contributing to this conversation. And I hope that it was very eye-opening for a lot of people who are tuning in. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you. So we'll wrap up. Is there anything, follow all these guys, please, on all the socials. Any final things you guys want to shout out or put out there?
Yes. I'm so excited. So we have a very big special election coming up in the 14th here in Georgia. So to fill Marjorie's seat. And I will be running the campaign and strategy for someone who I think has a really good shot So I am really, really, really excited about that. Got that call today. So that's kind of big. This race will have a national impact and exposure. So I'm really, really excited. So that's gonna get going. But other than that, I love you, Angela. Always have. And I'm so glad I finally got to meet Hannah and Adam. Like
Yes,
super
me too.
excited. So, and thank you so much for having me on again. I really appreciate it.
Congratulations, Tiffany. That's awesome. And thank you so much. Always
Congrats.
a pleasure talking with you and having you and maybe meeting you soon in person. So,
Yes. Oh, yes, that's going to happen.
Adam, any final thoughts, things, shout outs, stuff you got coming
Yeah.
up?
I got a documentary coming out. It's from when I filmed the GenSpec conference last year. A series of interviews that I conducted and put it together. It's about an hour long. A trailer should be coming, I think, next week, and then I'll make it available for everyone to watch. It's called Not Standing
Awesome.
Alone.
Cool.
And detransitioners, academics, but I think it's especially good for people who are normies who don't know what's going on. A lot of different perspectives within the film. And I am working on, I don't know what it's going to turn into, but I'm working on another documentary involving myself. It's about my weight loss, and well, weight struggles as far as losing weight, gaining weight. And the working title I have right now is "I Hate Being Fat."
I love it.
Love it.
It's catchy.
It's catchy. So what I've been doing so far is filming myself once a week with things that I've learned and things that I'm doing. But as of today, I've lost 22 pounds in 29 days.
Wow, congrats.
Ooh.
Yeah. And we're just trying to. My wife has lost weight. She's getting her old clothes now, but I have a lot more weight to lose than my wife. So I'm doing that. I'm going to be interviewing some experts, and fitness people, doctors, and stuff like that to incorporate it. So I have a general idea of what's going to look like at the end, but I don't know what I'll look like at the end, and how much I'll lose. But I'm losing a lot very quickly, following different protocols that are sustainable. So I think it should be interesting. But this is the first time I'm actually talking about it publicly.
Oh, well, I'm honored that you did that here.
Yeah.
That's congratulations. That's awesome. You must feel.
That's why my face looks slimmer.
Yeah.
Yeah, you look great.
I was gonna
Thank
say.
you.
No, that's amazing. And I think so many people are interested in that topic and would love to watch this, learn from it, etc. So yeah, I think it's that's incredible. I mean, yeah. Congratulations. You must feel very proud of all of that. So that's awesome. And anytime you want to, chat about it on here, talk about it, like, please, I would love to hear more about your journey. I think everyone would. So
Will do.
incredible. That's awesome. Hannah, anything you want to chat? Follow Hannah. Her @ is right here.
Yeah, follow me on X and on Instagram. My @'s there. I'm gonna be on with Angela tomorrow evening, so you can find me there. But yeah, that's it.
And the animals, I love it. I love how everyone has pets on the
Upper.
stream. It's so fun. Oh,
Mine are outside because they're too wild.
I don't have any pets. Adam, what's your dog's name?
Bella.
Bella. Maybe I feel like I asked you that before. I'm going to remember this time. All right. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate you. Happy New Year. Thank you for everything. This has been awesome. We will talk soon. Bye, Bella.
Bye, y'all.
Bye, guys. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Thank you guys so much for tuning in today. Please follow and support all these amazing folks. They're awesome. I'm so thankful for my guests, my panel, and all of you for tuning in, the audience. And thank you for your comments, questions, etc. As you see, even if they're, differing, we will bring them in and we welcome them. So we're trying to show that it is okay that we don't all agree, and that we're able to have open dialogue and conversations and communication and try to understand one another better, bridge gaps, build relationships, all that jazz. So we couldn't do this without all of us contributing and participating. So thank you all so much. And yeah, as Hannah said, I will be doing another stream tomorrow. It will be the last of the week. Will be Thursday. That's tomorrow, in case you didn't know, like me, where I'm still trying to like figure out what day it is after the new year and the holidays and all that madness. So yeah, Thursday tomorrow at 9 p.m. Eastern time. So it's a little later tomorrow. Tune in, and we'll be talking about current events, hot topics of the day, with a whole new panel. So with Hannah and a couple other people. So yeah, please catch us, come chat with us, interact with us tomorrow at 9 p.m. Eastern. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. If you haven't subscribed on YouTube, please do. And yeah, come hang with us tomorrow at 9 p.m. Eastern time. Thank you guys again so much for watching, for the support, for your, communication, questions, feedback, thoughts, all that. We welcome it. And I will talk to you soon. Stay bold.